Hello reception, Mr Geer here. Now this week in maths we are going to be talking all about measuring. Measuring. Now when we're measuring there are two different ways we can do it. The first way is to use something like this, which is a ruler. And on a ruler it's got something called centimetres. Centimetres. And those are all these lines here. So as you can see, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 100. And this is a metre, okay? And these are called a standard unit of measurement. Standard unit of measurement. Now, these are really useful because these are standard, which means they're the same everywhere in the world. So, for example, if I was on the phone to Mr McCarthy when he was at home and I was at home, so we couldn't see each other, and I said to him, Mr McCarthy, we are going to build a table in our own houses, and I said to him, I used these measurements to build his table, we hopefully, fingers crossed, would make the table the exact same size. So that's where this comes in really handy. The other way of measuring is to use a non-standard unit of measurement. A non-standard unit of measurement. That means you can use anything you like, so long as they're all the same. So for example, you can use your hand. My two hands are the same size, so I can measure something using my hands. I could also measure something using these red sticks, couldn't I? I could measure them. So this would be 2 sticks long. Now what I'm going to use today is I'm going to use these dominoes. Okay, so I've got a whole box of them here and they're all the same size. Okay, so when we're measuring, it's really important that we line up the beginning and the end with what we're using to measure. So for this domino, I don't want this domino to be like this. Because as you can see on the side there, it's not at the end, is it? No, we need to make sure it lines up perfectly with the end. Just like that. So, is it one domino long? No, it's more than that, isn't it? Let's try another one. Here we go. We need to make sure that the middles meet as well, because otherwise we'll have a big gap, and that won't be measuring very well either. So, push them together, put that alongside. So, this red stick is 2 dominoes long. Can you see? 1, 2. So, now that we've had a little practice at that part of measuring, here's your challenge. What I would like you to do is I would like you to choose a non-standard unit of measurement. So that could be anything in your house, so long as you've got lots of them that are exactly the same. So you could use some knives and forks that are the same length, couldn't you? You could use some pencils that are all the same length to measure. Again, I'm going to use dominoes today. And I would like you to measure everyone in your family or everyone in your house. Okay? What I've done up here is I've made a table. Maybe you could do the same with your family. And I've got Miss Turner, Mrs Starkey, and myself, Mr Geer. This here says estimate. Estimate. Can you remember what estimate means? That's right. It means to have a sensible guess. A sensible guess. So we are going to have a sensible guess, an estimate to see how many dominoes long you think Miss Turner, Mrs Starkey and Mr Geer are. So, have a think. How many of these do you think will go from our feet all the way to our heads? There we go. I'm going to have an estimate. I think Miss Turner, I think she's going to be 6. How many do you think? Maybe you can write it down. Mrs Starkey. Now, is Mrs Starkey going to be taller or shorter than Miss Turner? I think she might be 7. I think she might be taller. I'm not sure. I can't remember. Mr Geer. I think I'm taller than Mrs Starkey, so I'm going to go for 9 for me. Those are my estimates. 6 for Miss Turner, 7 for Mrs Starkey, and 9 for Mr Geer. Make sure you write down what you think we are as well. Right, let's have a look and see how we got on. So, I have measured Miss Turner using these dominoes. So, as you notice, they're all the way down to the bottom of her feet and all the way up to the top of her head with no gaps in between. Thank you very much, Miss Turner. So, time to count how many dominoes it was. Can you count along with me? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 dominoes. Let's have a look at our chart and see if we were close. Let's go. So, Miss Turner, I guessed 6, didn't I? She was actually 9. Can we work out what the difference was between my estimate and the actual? So we'll start on 6, then we'll count up to 9 and see how many it was. Ready? 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, I was 3 out, wasn't I? Oh, let's hope I do better with Mrs Starkey. I have measured Mrs Starkey again using these dominoes. The bottom bit is to her feet. Now I've got a bit of a problem at the top though, haven't I? Because this domino here is a bit too high up. So what I'm going to have to do is use half a domino. Half a domino. So we're going to have to remember that. I'm going to turn it that way to remember to count that one half. Thank you, Mrs Starkey, very much.
Thank you.
So, let's count the dominoes to see if I got close. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and this last one was a half. So Mrs Starkey is 9.5 dominoes long. Let's have a look at the charts. Oh dear, I didn't do very well then either, did I? I said she'd only be 7. So she was 9, and to draw a half, it looks like this. 9.5 dominoes long. So let's see how many out I was. So we're going to start with 7 and count up to 9.5. So 7, 8, 9.5. I was 2.5 out, wasn't I? Oh dear, didn't do that measuring very well. Let's see if I can do better with myself. So, I have asked Mr McCarthy to help me measure myself. So, the dominoes at my feet are flat, and this is up against my head. Let's count. So, let's see. Count along with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mr Geer is 10 dominoes long. Let's have a look at the chart. Oh, I did better this time, didn't I? So the actual is 10. How many away was I? Let's hear. Yeah, 1 away, wasn't I? Now, I've measured every teacher in reception to see how tall they are using the dominoes. And I'd like you to do the same with every family member at home. Once you've done it, I'd like you to tell me who was the longest or the tallest and who was the shortest. Now, having a look at this, can you work out who's the tallest in reception? Yeah, it's Mr Geer. It's me, isn't it? I'm 10 dominoes long, so I am the tallest. Who is the shortest? Yeah, it's Miss Turner, isn't it? She's 9 dominoes long. So that's how we work it out. So once you've measured all of your family members using your non-standard unit of measurement, I would like you to tell me who is the tallest and who is the shortest. I look forward to seeing it on Tapestry.